Hi Aquarius, here is a general look at your solar chart for March 2016, and it's going to be an interesting month for all the signs because there's going to be two eclipses. The first eclipse is a solar eclipse on March the 8th on the Pisces-Virgo axis, and that for you might have a knock-on effect. This benign, this impartial sort of energy allows for change and fresh beginnings in a sort of a joint setup, joint financial setup, maybe property, anything that you share or are reliant upon another to put in their contribution or their in materially their contribution, or maybe it's emotionally, maybe it's mentally their contribution, but you know it's not something that you are just kind of paddling your own canoe. You're definitely on or pedaling your own bike. You're on a tandem with someone. So buying, selling, renting, leasing, this could become part of the picture here, but also just putting things on a maybe a slightly different footing, possibly, and rearranging things. The thing about eclipses, especially a really powerful one like this one, is that they often show their intention, or rather show up in your life, the energy of change and opening the door to bring in, winds of change, or blow away the cobwebs and allow things to be reset before the eclipse happens. So that can be happening maybe a week or 10 days or even a month before the eclipse happens, and then subsequent to the eclipse the energy will unpack itself over the next 6 to 12 to even 18 months. So if you set your intention on the day of the eclipse of how you want a certain sort of situation to be panning out over the future, then that would be advisable, really, because it can really work. Now there's other things happening with this eclipse because of the degree it's eclipsing at, which is between 18 and 19 degrees. So that would then implicate Saturn on around that degree, Jupiter around that degree also, if we stretch a point, Neptune, and also Chiron, and then a little bit of Pluto thrown in. So it's quite a mixture on that level of the eclipse. So whatever those planets or the asteroid is doing in your chart, this will allow this renewing energy, this energy of turning over a new leaf to come in, and pace yourself. There's no rush. There never is with Saturn anyway, but you just have to be working steadily on this progress you feel is in the wind, and you just got to walk. You're walking towards that, or you're sailing towards that point on the compass. Okay, and yeah, sometimes you've got to tack a bit because of the crosswinds, but that's where you're going, and you will get there. There's no reason why you wouldn't get there. Of course, we can all shoot ourselves in the foot and scupper ourselves, but that's part of all of our life plans, in order to figure out, well, why do I keep repeating that all the time? Maybe I better not do that anymore. So there's that, and the eclipse energy is there to add power to your will and intention. And then there's the second eclipse, which is happening on March 23rd. This is a lunar eclipse. Yeah, you could say it's a lesser energy, but if it's really slam dunk on the degrees of something, then it could be stronger than the solar eclipse for you. So it's just, it swings and roundabouts, really. So anyway, the one on March the 8th is in Pisces Virgo. The one on March the 23rd is in Aries Libra. Probably that's really beneficial for your sign, depending again how close you are, because then the effect could be more significant. Again, the energy of change. In this particular case, it'll be more to do with training, learning stuff, figuring stuff out, but some mental work. It can be to do with expanding into new mental territories, can also be physical territories as well. And again, that one can show itself slightly beforehand and be panning out over a month to 6 months afterwards. Okay. So other news is that we have Saturn going over the Sun from the 5th to the 7th, and that can put more responsibility on your shoulders or just mean that you feel more squeezed there. Somebody's thwarting you, maybe. You feel like you got to jump through some hoops there. Okay, so maybe try not and schedule anything which is you really want to be enjoying or successful at quickly over those 2 dates there, or that time period there. And then in a similar vein, we have Jupiter going over Saturn's degree from mid-month onwards, and that might mean you got to work within strict parameters or strict rules, some kind of box anyway, but then you can find within that limited scenario, you've got some freedoms there. And if anybody can winkle out freedoms, it's you, Aquarius. So you find that actually you've got more options than maybe you realized. And then we have Mercury and Venus going over Neptune separately. So Mercury on the 10th and the 11th, Venus on the 19th and 21st. This can maybe muddy the waters so that something isn't understood properly, either by you or from you to another, or you don't have the information you need and you're just winging it. Or it might mean that there's confusion in your mind about something. And then Venus can confuse your feelings about something. And that will be Venus actually in your sign. And also Mercury in your sign. In fact, the pair of them are in your sign when they are doing that. So because they are... Oh, no, they're not. No, I take that back. They were in your sign just before they do that. So this again puts all of that emphasis on the next part of your sun sign chart, which is the axis to do with joint monies, joint property, joint space, what you rely on another, but also setting things up to obviously get the best out of them you can in a material sense. And feeling supported, especially from the 12th. So that's nice. In fact, there can be some goodies in the pipeline for you from the 12th onwards. So yes, that's altogether to be desired there. And then we have, having said that about confusion, a bit of confusion, that's just one of the ways you could respond to that, because there is a whole other way that you could be responding to that, which is actually touching your feelings and making you realize that you can actually be of service, you can help with your resource, your talent, your skill. Maybe it's not like that. Maybe somebody's there to help you with their resource, their talent, their skill. Maybe it's like that, and you might have been in a little bit of kind of disorientation, and then you just feel that somebody's just put their arm around you and said, "Listen, it's okay. This is how you do this, or this is how this can be done." Or that is one of the ways it can happen. So if you are putting out the vibe, that's how you want to see it. Not from the head, by the way. Doesn't work. It's got to come from here and here. Gut and heart. It's almost like a magnet. Pulls you towards that frequency. Okay, it can't come from here. It's too flimsy. It's not solid enough. That seems to be a strange way of putting it, but anyway, that's how it seems to me. And then you can really enjoy something. You can really click with somebody or something. You can really enjoy a beautiful thing, a beautiful object, a beautiful place, a beautiful person. And you feel a deep connection. You feel inspired. Maybe it's not like that. Maybe it's just like the subtle cross currents going on in the atmosphere, and you're kind of sensing and feeling them in almost like in a physical kind of a way, and it can be altogether beautiful and lovely. Now then, we have Saturn still pretty close to your ruling planet Uranus. That's the first half of the month, and I spoke a lot about Saturn and Uranus last month. Basically, this is you, like you've got a hook into the future, and you're just pulling yourself towards something in the future that you really, really want to, you really aspire to, you've been waiting for, and you are slowly getting there. So it's like you've been on hold. The lights go green, but there's a tailback. So you're getting there because the light's green. The light is green, and you're likely to be successful. It's just that you've got to be patient. And in the last week, Mars is going over the Sun again. That's sparking off each other, bringing in this vitality, this faster energy, this busy energy. Good time to get the ball rolling on something, or indeed to get more physically maybe involved and active, or something that's already ongoing, you just kind of keeping up with that, or getting more involved and decisive about that as well. Now Mars, it has been in a challenging angle to your sun sign up until the 6th, but then and that's you putting physical effort and having to use your stamina for your place in the world, achieving certain goals, feeling scrutinized maybe, you wanting to make the best impression you can. Now Mars is going to move out of there, having been there since just almost like the third day of January, something around there, maybe it was the 4th, and then Mars goes into a really progressive area for you, and far more up your street, where again this faster moving energy comes along. It's future orientated. It's it's sort of cutting edge and unconventional maybe for some of you, and it's to do with groups. It's to do with a group dynamic. It's to do with friendships. It's to do with associations of all kinds. But it helps you to feel kind of boosted and more confident, and something which has been on the back burner, something that's been shelved for a long time, begins to come to the front now, and you really get the sense like, okay, it's I'm now on the path to this, and and it could be more technology around you as well at that time, and definitely it's to do with the internet. It's very much to do with the internet and anything to do with technology in general. Okay, and then the Sun on the 20th moves into a very sociable, busy area, having gone from this sort of financial area. It's sort of about your personal finances and your personal space and property, as well as jointly held holdings or jointly held ideas or interests with another, buying, selling, renting, leasing, lending, borrowing, debts as well, loans, that kind of thing, all coming in there. Again, the energy of change, allowing that to maybe be refreshed in some way, or kind of reset in some way. Jupiter is putting a beneficial emphasis on your financial area for quite a while. You feel as though you're not alone with it. Somebody else is there in the background, and that's altogether a beautiful settling feeling for you to have, because then you can relax that bit more. And very, very opposite to having no backup at all. So if you're not feeling this at the moment, then Jupiter, is there for you to tap into, and will be there until September. So you need to reach out, because often with Jupiter, if we don't reach out and really do entertain ideas outside of the box, we can blissfully go through, or not so blissfully actually, ignorantly go through a Jupiter transit with next to nothing much turning up, because it is always, kind of up to us to take advantage of whatever the current vibrational weather is bringing our way. You Aquarians born the 2nd to the 8th of February, or with 14 to 20 degrees rising, are going to feel that energy the most this forecast period. And that's it for March. If you know your rising sign or your moon sign, listen to those. This material is written up on DianaGarland.com. And I'll see you the next time.